Hello, and welcome to a live Deprogram with Keri Smith. I'm your host, Keri. Today is Friday, March 14th. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being patient. I just had to stop a dog fight in front of my house. I apologize. um, we are renovating our old house, as some of you know, and this year, knock on wood, God willing, we're supposed to be doing the front yard and backyard, which includes putting up fences. Well, we don't have fences yet. So little Tiger, he loves dogs and he loves them. He kind of a little ambivalent about people when he first meets them, but he loves every dog. And anyway, I just let him out. I usually don't let him out if I see someone coming, but I didn't see this girl with her dog jogging, and he just took off across the street to say hello to her dog, who apparently is gun shy because her dog has been attacked by dogs before. And so she was screaming and holding her dog and like, I don't want my dog to attack your dog. It was just, oh, I felt so bad for her. I didn't have shoes on. I had to run barefoot across the street. Small town drama. Everyone's okay. The dogs are okay. Tiger's too friendly. Even if a dog doesn't like him, he doesn't really get it. He will keep being like, well, you like me. Let's hang out. Like, he's just like, I want to be your friend. So anyway, and it's so crazy because my husband just got attacked by a pit bull on Monday after the show on Monday, which never happens. It's insane. He was walking. No wonder this woman's dog is so afraid, because she said he's been attacked by 2 dogs before. But anyway, this pit that we've seen before when we go on walks and everything, it's usually behind a fence. It wasn't behind a fence, and my husband didn't hear it coming, and it jumped on him, like scratched, either bit him or scratched him. He's got on his arm and on his back, he has big gouge marks and stuff. Anyway, that was crazy. So we're a little bit on high alert, and then this happened. I'm like, okay, we need a fence. Long story short, thanks for being patient. That's all. I'm glad you guys are here. Today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's called TDS, or Trump derangement syndrome. You guys have heard it referred to as TDS. It's just Trump hysteria. It's people who've gone crazy and lost their minds, especially since Trump was reelected. As usual, there were a lot of leftist celebrities who said that they were going to be leaving the United States if he was elected. And of course, they almost never, ever follow through with that. These are sort of weird, I would say, cluster B personality disorder kind of threats that they make in the lead up to the election. They're sort of, emotionally manipulative, as if they think we care if they leave. They're like, I'm going to leave the US, Bette Midler, people like this, Cher. I'm going to leave the US and you won't get to be blessed with my presence here. Okay. We don't care. We don't care. And then when the thing they say they're going to leave for happens, they don't do it because they were just faking. It's so BPD. It's a little borderline personality disorder. So all that to say, today I wanted to use Rosie O'Donnell as an illustration, just as an example, not to pick on her personally, but as an example of someone who's so overcome by Trump hysteria, by TDS and Trump derangement syndrome, that she actually kept her word. You got to give her credit for this. She kept her word. She left. She just revealed this week in a video, a TikTok video, I guess. You kids know what the TikTok is. She revealed in a video this week that she and her daughter have been living in Ireland since mid-January, that they've moved to Ireland. This is her 12-year-old daughter, who she now refers to as quote unquote non-binary. Okay. So she's got the little bit of the gender mental illness crap happening there. But she claims, this was for her and her daughter's safety, and she misses her other children. She's moved an entire country because she's bought into all the crazy hysteria about Trump. And what's insane is if you look through the comments of her insane video, like the fact that you would do this and feel a need to do this, there are people, everyday people who are not celebrities, who are saying stuff like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe we're living in a world, in a nightmare where somebody like Rosie O'Donnell has to leave the US to protect their child. It's like, we're not. We're not. And I hate that people feel this scared and feel this hysteria. And I know some people in real life who feel it or whose kids feel it, and it's not true. I had a friend message me who's like, "Look, I have a child who's going through this gender cult madness, essentially." That's my take on it. That's not the parents' interpretation. That's my interpretation. I have a child who says they're trans, my friend said, and, they're totally afraid about what's going to happen now that Trump's in office. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not, nobody's going to be rounded up and put into camps. There's none of this crazy stuff that you guys talk about. Like, and I feel for you. I do. I feel for Rosie O'Donnell. I know that some people are going to mock me for that or make fun of me or say I'm being naive, but I think, I don't know. I think Rosie O'Donnell has some like goodness in her heart. And she's one of the people who's just completely brainwashed. I read one of her books years ago, years and years ago. It was called Find Me, I think. It was billed as an autobiography, but it really wasn't. It was really about her weird relationship with this super fan who was catfishing her and taking advantage of her and asking for help. It was really like, it's a very interesting read. If you're into true crime and weird personality disorders and stuff like that, you should read it. It's very interesting. But in that book, I felt like you can see some of her heart, and I feel that about her. I know there are people who are in the woke cult. There are plenty who have a dead heart, right? They're just in it to use it to gain power, control, influence, or they're mindless sheep, or they don't care. But there's also people in it who have a good heart. I've talked about this since I left it. People who have a good heart and who've just been pulled along into this cult ideology, which is the biggest cult I think we've ever seen. One of the biggest cults we've ever seen in modern America. It's infected politics, entertainment, the media, like journalism, everything, hobby groups, knitting. It's infected everything, gaming. And so I feel bad for her. I feel bad for people who believe this. She clearly believes it. She's not like the pretenders like Cher and Bette Midler and all the others who threaten to leave and don't leave. She's so scared. She actually did go to Ireland and move to Ireland with her daughter. So I feel bad for her. Okay. Let's use her as an example. Welcome. By the way, I'm looking at the chat. Hey, I see some familiar faces. If you're watching over on Rumble, welcome. I see some new people in the Rumble chat. If you don't like YouTube and their censorious policies, you can watch us over at Rumble. Deconstruct is over there at Rumble and says, Rosie had it out for Trump for like 15 years. Oh, I know. She's got a bad case of it. She says and repeats horrible, disgusting lies. She does. She does a lot of bad things. I'm just saying, I think underneath all of that, she has a good heart, and I wish she could wake up from it. I wish she could. Okay. Davina remains cynical. That's cool. That's fine. I need cynical friends. Davina says no. She moved to Ireland because it worked for her. I bet there are tax reasons. Okay. Okay. You could be more cynical than me. That's fine. I probably need to be. But yes, Kat says, I also think she moved to trans her kid. Yes, this is at the heart of it, is to trans her kid. Her kid who's autistic and now supposedly non-binary, right? Which is a made-up thing. And we know that there's a huge overlap between kids who have an autism diagnosis who then come out to say, oh, by the way, I think I'm trans. Like there's a larger percentage of autistic kids who say that they're trans. I think they are particularly vulnerable to the manipulation of the trans cult. They're particularly vulnerable to this. And we know you see a higher incidence of this, of kids who are saying that they're trans. You see a higher incidence of it among autistic children, among children who've been sexually abused, among children who have some sort of comorbidity, like a personality disorder diagnosis. And so oftentimes it's these kids who are already in these vulnerable categories who are the most vulnerable to toxic ideology, manipulative ideology, and the adults who push this crap. So she's got this daughter who's autistic, who she's been very open about her struggles with autism. I think she's been posting about her daughter's autism since her daughter was 9. Well, now suddenly her daughter's non-binary. And the thing is, we are not, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'll just say this so that you know where I stand on this. I've said this before, so those of you who've been here for a while, bear with me. But this is good for new people, and you can maybe send this to your friends who are in the leftist cult. There is nothing liberal or progressive about mutilating and sterilizing children. Up until the past few years, we have always recognized in our society and our laws, we've always recognized that children are different from adults, that they are not developmentally the same. And therefore, our laws protect them by not allowing them to do certain things and not allowing certain things to be done to them. We don't treat them the same as adults in our law for good reason, because we've been much more mentally sane until recently. And so, for example, in our laws, we don't allow children, minors, we don't allow children to get tattoos, drive cars, smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, vote, buy a gun, have sex with adults. There's all kinds of things we protect children from. And up until now, we would have said, "Are you crazy?" a few years ago if people had said, "Hey, in a few years, you're going to be allowing children to quote unquote consent." They can't consent. They can't consent to sex, and they can't consent to permanent disfiguration, mutilation, and in many cases sterilization when they're children. They can't do that. And we are failing kids. Our country has been failing children. The medical establishment has been failing them. The law has been failing them. The law has been failing them, even though there are laws against child abuse, and this is child abuse. They should be prosecuted under child abuse laws. The doctors who do this and the parents who do it, the adults who push it, they should be prosecuted under existing child abuse laws. But they're not. Why? Because, like good Marxists, like good sociopaths, they change the language to get around laws. So they don't call it child abuse, like, hey, you need to consent to this child abuse. They call it gender affirming care. It doesn't change what it is. You are mutilating and sterilizing kids. You're cutting the breasts off of girls as young as 13. Double mastectomies for 13-year-olds. If you're new here, I did a series of videos on the WPATH files. You can go and watch those to learn some of the stuff that we know, which will give you some of the reasons why all these different progressive countries in Europe have been banning this for children, have been banning the mutilation and sterilization of children, even if it's called gender affirming care. Progressive countries like Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, the UK, like these countries are banning it. And so now all of that, I had to lay that out because this is the backdrop of where we're at. We're in such a crazy cultish world now, currently in 2025, that there are adults like Rosie O'Donnell who, I believe she has a good heart. You may not think that, but there are some well-meaning adults, even if you don't think she's one of them, well-meaning adults who've gotten swept up in this national madness, this woke ideology that has permeated all parts of culture. They've gotten swept up in it, and they actually believe that it's wrong to prevent the mutilation and sterilization of children. Rosie O'Donnell thinks she is somehow escaping persecution. She's taking her 12-year-old daughter to a country where she can mutilate her and sterilize her if she chooses. Don't worry, though. I mean, we're going to ban it in Ireland, too. Look at the work Billboard Chris is doing there and in other countries. I know there's a lot of people in Ireland doing work. We're banning it in all the like Western countries. We're going to ban it in every 50 states. We're going to ban it in every Western country. So you people who want to abuse kids, even if you have a good heart, even if you're misguided, even if you are swept up in this cult brainwashing craziness, you know, you're not going to be able to run to another place and do it so easily in the future. There's less and less time that you have to do that, I guess, is the way to put it. Yes, Jennifer. Jennifer in the chat says, trans is a response to feeling out of place. Autistic kids constantly feel out of place. Yes. It's an ideology that comes along and takes advantage of vulnerable children who feel, as you said, out of place, whether that's because of autism, previous abuse, other mental health diagnoses, things going on at home, who knows? And by the way, every kid who goes through puberty is feeling out of place. Then you just heighten it if they have these other things going on already, So, but it comes along and says like, hey, maybe the problem is that you're trans. Have you ever considered you're quote unquote born in the wrong body? Hey, if you come out as trans, you're going to get to feel special and unique, and you have a special colorful flag, and we're going to put you on a pedestal and celebrate you. What kind of incentive are we creating for children when we do this? Somebody pointed out, I don't know if you guys remember this. This has been a while since we talked about it, but out of all these different they're coming up with all these different sexuality categories too, and they're brainwashing kids and telling them about all these different, like 100 different sexualities. It's so bad that my church in Georgetown, a few years ago, the church on the square, we got kicked out of our meeting place at the Palace Theater in Georgetown, Texas, because our pastor, Bradley Helgerson, and two of the moms from our church spoke up against Forbes Middle School in Georgetown, Texas. They had 10-year-olds paint a mural on our town square in Georgetown of all these different sexuality flags. Like, I think it was like 8 or 9, 11. I can't remember. It was less than a dozen, but it was a high number, like a large number of sexualities, like including, I remember aerosexual was one of them. Like, why are you teaching 10-year-olds what aerosexual is, or polyamory? So they have all these different sexualities and stuff, and they all have a cool, fun, different colored flag. And which one are you? Collect them all. It appeals to kids. You're grooming children ideologically when you do this. And you know what color they have a flag for straight. They should just call it normal. They have a flag for straight. Do you know what the colors are? It's black and white and gray. I'm not joking. It's black and white and gray. What kid is like, slap that straight flag on me? Also, they're children. Why are you talking about sexuality with kids in that way at all? Why are you sexualizing them in that way? It's so crazy. Okay. Kiwi says, with the books that are basically porn in our schools, kids and more girls than boys are uncomfortable with their sex. Yes, it makes sense. And then Kat says, this is my pride flag. It's a USA flag. Cool. Okay. We're going to watch this video. This is Rosie. I don't know if you've seen this. Let's see if I can share. And we're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to jump to the important parts. But as I said, I feel bad for this lady. Even considering everything I know, I feel bad for her. There we go.
Hey, everybody. It's me, Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. It's Tuesday all day, as my Nana would say. And I'm here in Ireland. And it's beautiful and warm, not physically. It's actually quite cold. Moved here on January 15th. And it's been pretty wonderful, I have to say. The people are so loving and so kind, so welcoming. And I'm very grateful. I'm in the process of getting my Irish citizenship, as I have Irish grandparents, and that's what's going on, and that's where I've been and what I've been doing. And although I was never someone who thought I would move to another country, that's what I decided would be the best for myself and my 12-year-old child. And here we are. Here we are. So TikTok has gotten a little bit dark and negative for me. I don't feel capable of going through the hate that comes through. And
Let me pause it for a second. A lot of people, I guess, haven't seen her in a while. They're like, "Oh wow, Rosie got older." Yeah, she did. It comes for us all. Somebody said she looks like she lost a lot of weight, though. She does. Um, so Kat says, "I can't help but think Rosie's a terrible person. Her older daughter is a horrible drug addict, and she's trying to trans her younger daughter." Yes, one of her older daughters is just had another uh, relapse or was arrested for some drug offense again, and they apparently don't talk at all, she and the older daughter. And there, a lot of this, though, I think is because you're not raising your kids in a healthy environment. It may not mean that you yourself have a horrible heart, but you're not raising your kids in a healthy environment. That much is clear. Her kids are not being raised in a healthy environment. For sure. And now she's taken this one all the way to Ireland so she can potentially mutilate her at some point. That's the presumption.
I'm trying Substack, and I think I like it there. Now, it's hard to learn. If the Substack people are listening, you really need a more user friendly app. It's very difficult to even find where you post. It's well, maybe it's algebra, and I'm
Okay, I agree with Rosie. I am such a Luddite. I go into Substack and I'm like, what? If you know how to use it, let me know. I know how to write articles. I write articles there, but they have this new thing in Substack. Maybe it's not that new. I'm just not on it. But it looks like it's Twitter, like X. It looks like it functions like X. Is that true? In the chat, can you tell me? Is that how it functions? Am I just dumb? I'm like Rosie. I'm like, I don't get it. Anyway, she's having trouble Substack, so am I. Celebrities, they're just like us.
a geometry person. I don't understand algebra. And, uh, you know, Facebook was a mystery to me and remains a mystery to me. TikTok seemed like a cinch, and I got it from the get go. But Substack, one of the reasons why I'm liking it is it's a lot more about writing and photographs, which seem to be less incendiary. And I don't necessarily want to see, um, myself on the news on posts like this one. But there you have it. It's going to be what it's going to be when you're a public figure, living a more private life as you get older. This is sort of the journey that you take. I'm, I'm happy. Clay is happy.
Yeah, as you guys are pointing out, she sounds sad. She looks sad and lifeless. Yeah, but and then even having to say, "I'm happy." You're not you don't sound it. It sounds a little like you're protesting too much. Um, Clay is what she calls her daughter now. Her daughter like renamed herself. I forget what her name used to be. If you guys know in the chat, let me know. But is it Dakota? I think it might be Dakota. But she originally, yeah, I can't find it. Yes, Dakota. It was Dakota. Here, I've got another video I can show you in a second. Anyway, so she and her daughter Dakota, who now goes by Clay, are the only ones that moved, apparently.
I miss my other kids. I miss my friends. I miss many things about life there at home. And I'm trying to find a home here in this beautiful country. And when, it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
This is retarded. I'm sorry, it is. This is dumb. I'm gonna remove it for a second. Um, Here. So if you are new here and you're again trying to figure out what I think about all this stuff, or what position is Keri of it, this is just dumb. There's nothing because Trump got elected, suddenly citizens don't have equal rights. What does that mean? What could you enumerate what rights you don't have that everybody else has? Could you enumerate what those are? And by the way, and this is something to think about if you're on the left and you think of yourself as an intelligent person, an open-minded person and stuff. A lot of times when I talk with you guys, you can't not only can you not defend your opinions, you can't form arguments, for example, to defend your opinions very easily. Um, and I think that's because they're not really your opinions. You've been given a lot of these opinions from the cult that you're in, from the cult that I used to be in. I know what it's like because I used to receive my opinions too. And so you can't make arguments to defend your positions, but also you get very emotional when asked to do so. Like it's almost like a personal affront to you. If somebody disagrees with you on a position, you take it as like a personal offense. You get emotional about it. And a lot of times you can't define basic concepts. So here's what I would ask you. Here's a little test. If you're on the left, maybe you're questioning the woke left. I know there's a lot of people in the chat who recently left. I that's one of the best things about doing this and talking to people and doing a podcast is meeting other people who've left the left or people who are questioning it and have questions and are leaving. And I love that. I want to help more people leave. That's why I do this. So here's a thing you can ask yourself. What are rights? What are rights? Think about it. Define it. Think back to if you had civics class. If you don't know how to define it, you should start reading about it. You should read about positive and negative rights. Because a lot of the ways that the word rights is used today, it doesn't make any sense. Especially by Democrats. Democrats often will call things a right that are not rights. You don't have a right to healthcare, for example. We don't. If you're in the leftist cult, that may sound shocking, but it's a relatively new thing. It was shocking to me when I thought about this, but it's a new thing to say that goodies and benefits and things that you're given are rights. That's a very new thing in history. Those are not rights. These are not things that you are endowed by your creator. If you go back to the founding documents with certain inalienable rights, well, those things are not like I am entitled to. These are entitlements. You're not entitled to somebody paying for healthcare for you. You're not. You're entitled to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You're entitled to what's known as like negative rights, like the government not impeding on any of your natural rights. We are all entitled to the government not impeding on our right to go out and pursue life and liberty. This is why, for example, when the government told us during the COVID years, like, oh, you can't go outside and you can't go to work and you can't earn a living, you can't provide for your family, that was an imposition on our equal rights. That was an imposition on rights. They don't have the right to do that. And they did it anyway. It was unconstitutional what they did. So all these like extras, I'm asking you to go to the base, like figure out like what do you think about things? Are you able to define things? Are you able to even define rights? You have to start there. Otherwise, you're going to be someone like Rosie O'Donnell talking about like in America, people don't have equal rights and we're not coming back until they do. And it's like, what are you talking about? First of all, you don't even know what rights are. And second of all, can you enumerate any of them that you don't have because Trump was elected? No. Okay, so that's just craziness. Now, if you're caught up in this cult and you think I sound like the insane one and you think Rosie O'Donnell's right on and you're sitting at home watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, Keri, there's so many rights that I don't have now because Trump's president. Tell me what they are. Put them in the chat. I want to know what they are. We can talk about it. What are the rights you don't have? Is in Rosie O'Donnell's case, you know what she means? She means the right to mutilate and sterilize her child. The right to child abuse. That is not a right. I'm one of the biggest proponents you will find for parental rights, but even parental rights come with limitations. You are not allowed as a parent to violate your child's natural rights by abusing them, murdering them, raping them. There's a whole host of things that parents are not allowed to do to their kids. And mutilating mutilating them surgically, cutting their breasts off, sterilizing them for life. These things are not things you're allowed to do. Or very soon we're going to be in a consensus that these are not things you're allowed to do, that we went through this momentary craziness. So that's what she's pissed about. She's pissed because she's like, I can't mutilate and sterilize my child. I have a right to do it. No, you don't. And by the way, we are applying that uniformly. We're applying it equally, if you will. No parent has the right to do that to a child. No parent. So I ask again, what is this sort of unequal rights thing you're talking about? A denial of rights that you're talking about? Let me put her back on the screen. Oh, there she is.
It's been heartbreaking to see what's happening politically, and hard for me personally as well. The personal is political, as we all know. So I've met a bunch of people. Everyone's been friendly. I have a wonderful friend named Tom who has taken me under his wing and showed me around Dublin, and I'm so grateful, really grateful. And I imagined, a different life for me when I met him. I said, imagine if I was raised here, who would I be? Would I be the same person? I don't know, I don't really know. But that's the story of what's been going on. So if you want to follow me on Substack, please do. There's options. You can do it for free, of course.
I'm going to skip ahead. Here, she's plugging the Substack. I want to skip ahead just a few minutes to where she's talking again about.
But
here we go.
I'm going to see about maybe getting another one. So all I want to do, Uma is with us and is doing and taking, and that's pretty much all the news fit to print for today. So going to post this. I'm going to put my Substack address on the in the comments or the info, whatever the description of this video. I still don't know how to make it a blue check so that you can just click and be there. So you have to copy and paste. I'm really sorry about that, but one day I'm going to learn. And not having my 20-year-olds here to help me is problematic.
I'm just gonna. I can't stand listening to swallowing. Stop it, please stop it.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the story. Rosie O'Donnell, right there. All the news. Peace, people. Peace. And, protect your sanity is all I can say. Protect your sanity as much as you can. And try not to swim in the chaos if possible. But I know it's nearly impossible when you're there in the middle of it. And I think about everyone every day and the United States of America, and I am hoping that we can turn things around. I'm counting on you, all of you, to do what's right. And I think deep down inside, we all know what that is. All right. Take care. TikTok, you don't stop.
Okay, that's more of the same. She's talking about how terrible it is in America. And meanwhile, she just moved to a country where let's highlight this for a second. Somebody in the chat noticed this. I think it's a great point. Ronnie James says, so Rosie O'Donnell moved to a country where you have to be the descendant of a citizen to even be able to become a citizen. Seems a little exclusionary, right? Can you imagine, just for a second, imagine that America were to do this? America, we have a very progressive immigration policy. As much as the leftist cult likes to pretend like we don't, they want complete open borders or something. But we have a very progressive immigration policy. You don't have to have an ancestor who's American in order to become a citizen here. Can you imagine if Trump were to do that and say, hey, we're going to put forward this new immigration policy. We've really got to limit it. And so from now on, you can only become a citizen if you have an ancestor or a family member who is a citizen. Can you imagine what Rosie O'Donnell and other people in the leftist cult would say about that? And yet, she moves to a country with an immigration policy like that. She moves to Ireland, and she is basically saying it's better than the US. The US is so awful. A little crazy, right? So somebody says, Arnawa says, oh no, she didn't thank Trump for not banning TikTok. No, she didn't. She didn't acknowledge Trump having to do with that at all, having anything to do with that at all. Dion says, take your own damn advice. Exactly. Don't try to make it make sense, says Davina. No, it doesn't. She can only get citizenship in Ireland because she has like a grandparent or something. She has an ancestor from Ireland. So she's going to try and get citizenship there. But, imagine if we had that. It's a little crazy. Here's something else. I'm not saying this is what all of Ireland is like. We have a problem with growing Nazi crap online anyway in the US as well. It's sort of growing online. But somebody sent me this morning, and because it was Ireland, I thought, okay, let me just show this. Because you know what someone like Rosie would do? These people are all anecdotal. So they'll take one case like this and they'll say, this is all of the US, right? Well, if you were to do that with Ireland, take a look at this video that someone sent me. It says, when Jews visit Ireland, you're not welcome in Ireland. And then she spits on him. This is what Jews have to put up with. This is Dublin, 2025, not 1930s Germany.
This is my better side. You can take a video all you want. You're not welcome in Ireland. Communists are not welcome in Ireland.
Yes, I'm a Zionist and I'm
Israel is on its way out. Believe me, Israel is on its way out. And you're not. It's really American followers.
I love you too. I hope. Did you just spit on me?
I did.
Okay.
And I actually did not miss.
Can you call the police, please?
So they have their Palestinian flag, or what do you call it? The scarf. I forget what they're called. Palestinian scarves, and they're yelling at this Jewish guy, you're not welcome in Ireland, and something about Israel's going down or something, and then they spit on him. So, Rosie, that's where you're at now. Again, just to be clear, I'm not doing what I actually don't think one video of two terrible people is indicative of a whole country. Not at all. I'm just saying they do that all the time. They take a clip and they're like, this is what they'll take one bad apple, one terrible person. They'll say, this is what America's like, And so there you go, Rosie, there's your new country. There's one terrible clip. That's where you moved. That's where you moved. Yes, thank you, username. Kefa, yeah, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's the Palestinian scarf. My husband has several of those because he used to live abroad. He used to live in Germany for many years, and we get to travel there. We're blessed to get to go there with his music once a year. And so from like 10, 20 years ago in Germany, they have obviously big Arabic population now. But he has a lot of those scarves and didn't know that didn't realize it meant anything. It was just like, oh, these are scarves. And so he has a lot of different colored. He has like a red one and a green one. And now that it has taken on greater meaning here in the US because of the events of October 7th and the war that followed, he can't wear them anymore. Because now it's like, oh, that means something to a bunch of people. So if you wear it, it's like you're saying something. It can't just be a scarf. It's like, oh, you're saying something with that piece of clothing. So It's oh man. Anyway. Okay. I just wanted to do a quick one today. This is a short one. If you like the video, if you have friends on the left who you think need to see it, please send it to them. And if you like the video, please hit like, consider subscribing. We have a small group of supporters who help keep Deprogrammed running, and I really appreciate you guys. You can become a member here at YouTube. You can become a member at Subscribestar or Patreon or Locals, and I appreciate you guys very much. If you didn't see it yet, I put out an interview on Wednesday. We didn't do a pop culture because I had an interview coming out anyway, and Mystery Chris and I are trying to figure out our schedule with upcoming videos. So Wednesday, I put out an interview with Cody Lawrence. He's from the Spare No Arrows podcast. I love this guy. I've been learning about all these new to me people, podcasters, people who do commentary, and people who are writers, who are against woke ideology, and they're also against this seeming rise in Nazi crap online. And he's one of them. And Mick Olson's one. I also got to interview Mick Olson a month or so ago. So go and check out the interview with Cody Lawrence. I think we need to, or at least I need to, I'll just speak for me. I need to help to lift the voices of any people I think who are solid examples of like strong, masculine Christian men. And I'm discovering lots of them online, and women. I'm just happen to be, most of the ones I'm discovering now lately have been men. So I've got some more interviews coming out, and yeah, go and check it out. Very excited to talk with him. Very honored that he spent that much time here on Deprogrammed with us. So Bros and Bros says, I enjoyed that conversation. Some good food for thought in there. Well, thank you. You guys go and check it out. Adam Worrell. Hi, sorry I'm late. Late and gay, Adam. I'm kidding. Good to see you. Therese, give it up for Therese, one of our mods who is here today. Thanks, Keri. Have a great weekend. Same to chat. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much. I love hanging out with you. Okay, I'll see you on Monday. We'll do a live show at 2 p.m. If you like the channel, please hit like and subscribe, and take care. Oh, wait, I knew there was something I had to announce. Real quick. If you're in Texas, we're doing our first house concert in like probably over a year, because last year we didn't get to do any because we were renovating the exterior of the house, which took so long, and the whole porch was torn down at one point. Anyway, we haven't done one in like almost a year. So we've got our first one coming up. It's on Friday, March 21st. It's a great lineup of musicians from Lubbock and my husband. And if you are not already on the private invitation list and you want to be, send me an email at deprogrammedpod@gmail.com. It's deprogrammedpod@gmail.com. Let me know your screen name and who you are. I just want to vet you just a little bit, because, you know, it's my house. Got a lot of people who don't like me. So let me know who you are, and I'll let you know details about it. Okay, that's it. Kendra, ooh, are we late? LOL. You are. I'm taking off. Texas Sheep Lady. Oh, I missed the whole thing. Sheep work. Well, when the sheep hits the fan, you gotta you gotta take care of it. Okay. Thank you guys. I'll see you on Monday. Take care.